Hello again and welcome to the fourth video. I've cleverly described it as now what. So these next action steps, I kind of hope that you have already completed. The preliminary emails that I sent you before our term started, I hope that you are already taking care of many of these action items. So I kind of already described to print table 3-1 and all the figures that will help you see how the 47 processes of project management are decomposed down to the input, tool, and output categorization. That you should have already inventoried the artifacts that you've created in your academic journey. But then in a video number 2 where I talked about artifacts, that you can extend your inventory to your professional and your personal actions as well. And then often the organization of your thoughts and approach, that does take a little bit of time and takes quite a few of your brain cells to start to see how all of the 47 processes are very much like puzzle pieces. And the inputs, tools, and outputs start to fill in all the blanks of the puzzle. And actually, the file naming I probably should have put in the pitfalls. So as you are saving your documents and you are creating your however your file structure is going to be on your computer, I would suggest that you name your files so that you then can remember where and how, where in your ePortfolio to upload them and how they are going to fit into your ePortfolio schema. And so the action steps with yellow sticky. So this is what this is what I literally did when I started doing this program and thinking about how different pieces to the curriculum would fit into table 3-1 is I did yellow stickies. I did an inventory of much of the curriculum and then some of the things that I was working on because I too built my own e-portfolio. And I just did on yellow sticky so that I could move the title of any artifact around. So I just cleared off a table. I did a mock table 3-1 with the process groups across the top and the knowledge areas down the left. And then with yellow stickies, as I titled the artifacts that I had, I just started placing them in the place where I thought they belonged in each process. So those are some action steps that if you have not taken, I recommend you start to think those through as this week part of your ePortfolio word picture and artifacts should be submitted. All right, now the pitfalls. So I think I've already kind of shared these notions with you, whether it be through email or in the introductory videos. So the pitfall. This course, you really do need to set aside 15 to 20 hours per week to be successful because it just takes that long for you to think through, organize, perhaps do some editing, perhaps format the artifacts in the way and the formatting requirements are in our course. Cover sheet as a PDF would be the areas I would like you to pay pretty close attention to. Those things just take time. It doesn't take a whole lot of, you are not creating anything new, but it takes time for you to organize. And yes, I have it up there twice because I want to foot stomp that, and I've shared this with you before in a previous video. This course does have a high failure rate, and it's not because that any one student can't do it or is ill prepared, but it's because a student hasn't dedicated the required 15 to 20 hours per week to get this done. The second is analysis paralysis. And yes, I have it up there twice on purpose because, again, it is that important. That sometimes I talk to students who have not passed this course, and what they're describing is pursuit of perfection. And while I appreciate perfection, in this scenario where you are in a 9-week term to complete a pretty intense capstone experience, while I appreciate striving for perfection, I would more like you to focus on getting it done. Now, please don't misinterpret that for mediocre work because that will not fly either. But I've had students who want to go back, and in fact, I had one student allude to this in an email. So if you're going back and looking at your artifacts and you look at them and say, wow, in this 501 document, I missed this. Well, I would kind of hope that what you did in 501, that now that you've gone through the entire curriculum, that you can go back to your first project management class and you could be a little critical of your work, because that does mean that you've grown in your understanding of project management. So the purpose of this capstone is for you not to go back and redo work, but is to capture the work as it was done at the time. And then if you see something that you now are not happy with your critical eyeball, just put that in your word picture, that you're presenting this project plan from, and whether you call it 501 or whether you term it that you and your team did a project plan on building a church, that you might in there say, in your word picture, that upon re-examination of this document, it's missing an in-depth risk analysis and a change control board. So if you are worried about the quality of the work, acknowledge that, not that you're worried about the quality, but acknowledge what was missing in your word picture and just tell me and tell your other readers that this is an example of a project plan, but now looking back at it, if you had to do it over again, you would make sure that the risk analysis was more in depth and that you could capture change of your project through a change control board. So getting back to analysis paralysis, please don't try to strive for perfection. Strive to get it done well, very well, and the key here is to get it complete. And I guess I kind of already addressed the seeking perfection. While it's applaudable to live in that world that you always want to be perfect, and if you choose to go down that road in this course, I would applaud you. But please know that you'll probably exceed the 20-hour per week requirement if you seek perfection. If you would like to do that, again, I applaud you, but it is not required. Just do it. That's really, there's no better way to put it than you have to get this done. And often the beginning to getting something done is to start to upload your work into the ePortfolio. Going back to analysis paralysis, many students also struggle because they they just hesitate to put stuff up into their ePortfolio. So I will encourage you and remind you that getting this done should be your #1 priority. And then last, stinking grades. I personally hate grades, as I think that it causes all of us to focus kind of in on the wrong thing. Our goal together is to have you demonstrate mastery for your project management skill set in a way that allows you to recognize how much work you've done and that you fully understand the integrative nature of project management. That's both of our goal. Now, somewhere along the line in our education, we seem to be very enamored over grades. So I personally hate grades. This capstone used to be pass fail. Now, when you look at your rubric, and as always, I encourage you to do so, that the rubric presents quite a bit of emphasis on you keeping on track with time. And that isn't so much to penalize you, but to incentivize you to keep on target with this class and not get behind. As mentioned, if you get behind, it's just very hard to play catch up. So what happens if you do get behind, from my opinion? I will warn you, if at week 4 you are not about halfway done or whatever week 4 requires us to be, I will probably encourage you to take a week off work. Because if you are behind at week 4, it's going to take you 40 hours to get caught up. And that is the equivalent of taking a week off work. So be ready for it. And don't be surprised if I say, if you have vacation, you need to take it now if you really want to pass this course. Some other things that so if you are not, now again, I'm talking pitfalls. If at about week 4 you're not caught up, I'm going to ask you for an action plan on how you intend to get caught up and how you intend to set aside your time. These are not strategies for me to be a hammer. These are strategies to help you get yourself back on track. Both of our goals are to have you pass this course and walk away recognizing how much you've learned. But you are not going to pass this course if you don't do the work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is, over these last 4 videos, what I've covered and shared with you is what is our framework, which is essentially PMI's Table 3-1, the intersection of process groups and knowledge areas as defined by 47 processes. I talked about what is an artifact. It can be evidence from your academic journey, your professional life, or your personal life. And yes, the total number of artifacts that I will be looking for you to upload is about 150 artifacts, of which any one artifact can be used 3 times. But in your word picture, you have to share with me why, if you submit one artifact 3 times, in your word picture, I will expect you to share with me how that artifact is different in the context of another process. And I would like to leave you with one more pitfall that I didn't have up on the slide, which is as you defend in your word picture why any one artifact fits where you're putting it, be very specific. If I have to guess whether or not you understand that a project charter should not go in the risk analysis area, or if you upload a risk analysis, risk register up in the project charter area, so what I'm suggesting there is the two don't go together. The charter and risk analysis are two, well, we'll say polar opposites for project work. And if you, one of the expressions is if you throw spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, um, if you are not presenting a portfolio to me, so I know that you know what you're talking about, your portfolio will be kicked back. And we will I haven't really, in the past, I've been very generous with the kickback, but the kickback game can't be a dance that we play all term. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've already shared with you that both of our goal is for you to complete this capstone, for you to recognize and acknowledge the enormous amount of information that you've learned in your degree. And my goal is to provide is to afford you the opportunity to earn the grade that you want to. And that is done through hard work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I'm available through Ask the Professor. I prefer if you put your questions there as it allows your question to be asked and answered, and then all of your peers to benefit from you asking. Have a great day.